Namaskar. Yesterday we talked about substance and we defined a substance, and we saw that substance has got a transitory permanent state, and it has qualities, it has moods, and there are different kinds of moods. So today we will talk about all the substances which are present in the universe. Uh, there are only 6 kinds of substances present in the universe. Note that there are 6 kinds, the 6 varieties, and each variety can be, many or one or many, but there are only 6 kinds of them. The first one is soul. Say, for example, we call it Jeev in Jain philosophy, or Jivastika. I'll tell you what is Jivastika and what is Jeev, but don't bother about it. Remember that the substance is soul. It refers to Atma. If you are familiar with the term Atma, then it refers to Atma. And the soul is associated with every form of life, whether it's a human being. All human beings have soul, all animals have soul, all insects, like even a fly or a mosquito or an ant, or say for example the trees, the bacteria, every form of life has soul. That is one substance. But the soul of each and every life is different, there is nothing common between them. So all human beings have different soul. For example, I have a soul, you have a soul, and so on. The second substance is matter. Matter means, all matter and energy which is present in the universe. You know what matter is. All objects which you see with your eyes, which are visible, consist of matter. You see only matter and nothing, no other substance in the universe. So all the mountains, rivers, earth, sun, all objects which you see, they are all matter. Not only that, Jainism says that the energy is also form of matter. This was known right from the very beginning. For example, the light which is coming from sun is energy form and is matter, is considered as matter. Scientific terms may be little different, for energy and matter and so on. But the term which is used in Jain philosophy is Pudgal. That means all matter and all kinds of energy, Pudgal. So I am not referring to this term here. We'll use only the term matter in our analysis, in our study, and be clear that includes all forms of matter and all forms of energy. Then the third substance is space, what we call as Akash in Jain philosophy. And the space provides accommodation to all other substances. Space is a substance in Jainism. It's a very different concept from science. Science does not regard space as any substance, If you go a little deep, how this space is defined in science, then they say that, the distance between two objects is space. Meaning thereby that there are no objects, there is no space. But that is not so in Jain philosophy. Space by itself is a separate substance, it has a separate identity and has to be treated separately. So we call it Akash, but we'll continue with the use of the term space in our lecture. Then the fourth substance is time. Time, is a very familiar term. We use it all the time. But the time helps a special meaning in Jain philosophy. It helps substances in time journey, meaning thereby that if there were no time substance, any object will not experience a time journey. It will not be old and new and something like this. It will be in the same state all the time. So this is the purpose of time, that it allows all the substances to have a time journey, go from one time state to another time state and so on. It helps the substance. It does not move the substance in time. For example, you have a clock, and the clock times for 6 o'clock now, and after some time it will be 1 past 6, 2 past 6 and so on. So that is the movement of the hand of the clock which shows the time, but everything is moving in the clock. There is a motion inside the clock and everything is moving. So that motion is possible only when the time substance is present. If the time substance is not present, then this kind of time journey will not be possible. This is the concept here in Jain philosophy. Then the fifth substance is medium of motion. To understand this, let us take an example. You see that the fishes are moving in water, the birds are moving in air. So these animals, they require some medium for movement. So the water is a medium for fish to move. Remember, the water does not move the fish, but at the same time, the fish cannot move without water. So the water is acting as a medium, and as far as the movement is concerned, the fish himself is moving from one place to another. The water does not move it. Similarly, birds are moving, flying in sky where there is air. The air does not move the bird, but the birds at the same time cannot fly without air in sky. So there is some medium required. Now the question which is addressed here in Jain philosophy is this, that look here, it's not only the matter which is moving, the soul is also moving in space. And soul is non-physical, matter is physical. And both these substances are moving. So what is conceived in Jain philosophy is that for any kind of movement, a medium is required. For example, our body, we move on earth, we walk on earth, then this also becomes possible only because the medium of motion is present, which we call as dharmastika or dharma in Jain philosophy, in Prakrit language. So a medium of motion has been conceived, and which acts as a medium for all substances. There are only two moving substances. One is soul and another is matter. Other substances are not moving. So for the movement of these two substances, a medium of motion is necessary. Even for small movement, for example, our eyes are moving. When we look at something, our eyes are moving this way or that way, or back and front and so on. So that movement, our eyelids are moving. That kind of movement also becomes possible because of the presence of the medium of motion. Even inside our body, the parts are moving, and so that movement also becomes possible because of this. This is the basic premise behind the assumption of this substance. Then there is another substance which is acting as agent of rest, adharma or adharmastika. what is presumed here is that if this kind of substance, agent of rest, is not present, then a thing which is moving, will never come to rest. For the thing to come to rest, another medium is necessary, and which we call as adharma or adharmastika. So we will call it agent of rest. So there is another substance, sixth one, which is agent of rest, and that becomes medium for every object to have a steady state or to come to a stop if it is moving. So these are the six substances in the universe, and there is not the seventh one. Only these six substances constitute the entire universe or entire cosmos. Out of these, the souls are infinite. There are infinite souls in the universe. Matter we'll study later, but if you consider this minute part of matter, then there are many infinite part of it. Space, Akash, is only one in the universe, It's only one substance, one piece of substance rather, but it's infinite. Time has a different connotation. What time is, we'll study later. But the medium of motion and the agent of rest, these two substances are also only one in number. So there is only one medium of motion which is present all over the universe. And there is only one agent of rest which is present all over the universe. What is their form? They are all non-physical. So out of these six substances, only matter is physical. The rest five are non-physical. And all these six substances coexist. They exist simultaneously together in the space. The space gives accommodation to all the other five substances, and where they coexist. But even if they are mixed, they coexist, they maintain their separate identity. So each one remains separate from the other. One does not become another, for example. For example, soul does not become matter, or matter does not become soul. They are two separate substances. They always remain separate. Say, for example, our body, our existence, I told you in the last class also that we have a soul. So our existence is a combination of soul and matter. That is, there is a soul inside this body. But even if the two are combined, they maintain their separate identity, meaning thereby the body is different, soul is different. They are two different substances existing together in the body space. So all substances maintain their separate identities. Out of these six substances, five of them are astikaya. If you read the Prakrit words, in each substances, you'll find written astikaya, jivastikaya, pudgalastikaya, and so on. Five of them. So five of them are astikaya means five of these substances have spatial extension. They extend in space. That means they have a shape, But the time does not have that kind of property. Time does not extend in space. So what form it has, we'll study later. But five of the substances are astikaya, so that means they have a spatial extension. And out of these six, only two of the substances, matter and soul, are active substances in the sense that these two substances interact with each other. other substances are kind of inert, they don't interact with any other substance. Even the matter and soul do not interact with the medium of motion or agent of rest or space or time. They do not interact with these substances. Only matter and soul interact with each other, and as a result, we have a body and so on. Then we study the qualities of a substance. Every substance has a quality. As I told you, the quality is identifying characteristics of any substance, and we make distinction between two substances on the basis of qualities. So what are the qualities of a substance? So there are 10 primary qualities or attributes. And out of these 10, the first 6 are universal in the sense that these are possessed by all the substances, and the others are particular in the sense that only a particular substance has that quality. So there are primary qualities, 10 primary qualities. There are other qualities, which science studies, but we are not going into those details. A substance, in fact, is supposed to have infinite qualities. We are only talking of 10 here, but that does not mean there are not other qualities. As I told you, there are other qualities, and the number can be infinity. So each substance can have infinite qualities. We'll now take up these universal qualities one by one. The first one is eternal existence. The thing exists, the substance exists, that is the first quality. So eternal existence, that is, it has always been existing. All these 6 substances which I told you have been existing forever. There is no beginning, and also there is no end, They will continue to exist forever. So there is eternal existence, that means continued presence of a substance without going in extinction. By virtue of this attribute, the substance is neither created nor may it ever be destroyed. Because it is always present, it has never been in extinction in the past. That means it cannot be created, and it will going to last forever. That means it cannot be destroyed. So these two are a corollary of one another. It is eternal, means there is no creation and there is no destruction of any substance. Then the second quality is causal efficiency. Every substance is capable of performing a purposeful action. That means, a substance is able to transform itself. It has that property that it can transform from one form to another. It has a purposeful action, An action is only possible when there is a change from one state to another. Otherwise, there is no action. So, every substance, all the 6 of them, has this property that form can change. They have the capacity to change their form. So this happens due to causal efficiency, this property, which emphasizes the aspect of change, as I told you, and change is integral in a substance. So if the substance exists, there is an intrinsic property to change. Otherwise, there is, the substances cannot be defined. You try to recollect the OCP rule, which I told you in the last lecture. So, the change is seated in the very nature of the substance, So, it is the intrinsic property of a substance. Then, the third property is substancehood. It means that a substance occupies it has different modes, So the modes take place because it has a property of change, otherwise the modes will not take place. So every substance has different modes, time wise their states go on changing. The substance keep on changing continuously, and this is happening in all the six substances. Remember, the quality of substance enables a substance to be substratum of qualities and modes. So there are qualities and modes because it has the substance has the quality of substancehood. So it has qualities and modes. Otherwise, it will not be possible for a substance to have quality and modes unless it has the quality of substancehood. The quality and modes cannot exist without any support. This should be very clear. Unless there is a substance, where will be the qualities? Or where would be the modes? So unless the substance exists and the substance supports the qualities and the modes. Then the fourth property is objectivity. By virtue of this attribute, substance can become an object of our knowledge. I can see this computer before me, or a chair before me, or a table before me, because that object has a quality that it can become an object of knowledge of a soul. If the chair does not have that particular property, that it becomes an object of knowledge, then I will not be able to see the chair. So objectivity is an essential characteristics of every substance, so that every substance becomes a subject or an object of knowledge. We of course cannot see all the substances. We have a limitation as a human being. We have limitations. We see only matter, because we see with our eyes. So eyes are capable of grasping the image of an object. So we see only, and that also only the gross objects. We are not able to see the fine ones. We don't see air, for example. We don't see atoms and molecules and so on. But if somebody has got that power, that capability, he can see these things as well. So the objectivity is a property of a substance, so that somebody can have a knowledge of it. Then the fifth one is just partial existence. By virtue of this attribute, substance extends into space and therefore has a shape. So it occupies many space points, and ultimately it acquires a shape. It has a shape, the spatial extension. This is the property of all substances except time, as I told you last time, just a while before. So all other five substances can extend in space, and therefore they will have a shape. We see the shape of the material objects, but the other substances also have a shape. Then the sixth one is eternal persistence, identity. By virtue of this substance, the substance preserves its specific substance identity, and qualities retain their qualityhood during change. As I told you, there is a continuous change. One mode is, the modes are continuously taking place time-wise. So there is a continuous change. But even if there is a continuous change, this substancehood, the very nature of this substance does not change. It remains same. So this is because of this property of eternal persistence. So every substance has got this property of persistence. So even if change is taking place, the substance persists. The substance does not change. So the matter is not changing. For example, I told you last time also, there is a decay process taking place in every object. But in spite of that, in spite of decay, the nature of the substance is maintained. For example, I have given an example here that having living organism is a mix of two substances, soul and matter, but both substances maintain that distinct identity. So matter remains always as a matter, and the soul always remains a soul, and the two always have their distinct identity in our life. Then there are other properties, which one is consciousness. Consciousness is a property of a substance, and it is this is the cause behind our experience. We have the experiences in our life because we have consciousness. So consciousness provides us power of distinction between ourselves and the others. We are able to make a distinction between what I am and what table is, or what chair is, or what computer is, because I have consciousness. Then inanimate quality, lack of consciousness. There are substances which do not have consciousness. So, for example, matter. Matter is a substance which does not have consciousness. So, lack of consciousness in animate quality. Then materiality. The next one is materiality is identified by attributes like touch, taste, smell, and color. That is, it's a material form of thing, and if it is like that, then it will always have the qualities of touch, taste, smell, and color. That is, we are able to perceive it with our senses, this kind of quality. Then non-materiality, a substance which lacks these attributes of touch, taste, smell, and color. Such a substance will be non-material, and this is the identification of non-materiality. So, if the substance is not having these attributes, we'll say it's non-material. Out of these 10, each substance has 8 out of 10 primary attributes. And these 8 consist of 6 which are universal and 2 which are particular. For example, soul. Soul has attributes of eternal existence, causal efficiency, substancehood, objectivity, spatial existence, eternal persistence. These are the 6 universal. Then 2 particular, consciousness and non-materiality. That is, soul has consciousness and soul is non-material, non-physical. These 8 qualities. And if you take matter, then it will have eternal existence, causal efficiency, substancehood, objectivity, spatial existence, eternal persistence. These 6 universal plus 2 inanimate quality and materiality. So matter is inanimate, it doesn't have a sentient property, and materiality, it is objective, it can be seen or it be sensed. These are the qualities, of a substance, and they are, in a way, metaphysical qualities, and as far as the matter is concerned, it has other qualities as well, which have been discovered by science, but they are not listed here in our study. One fundamental question now which we like to raise is existence of soul. This is a question in the minds of many. Does soul exist? It's a question. And many people are not convinced of existence of soul. And scientists, of course, do not consider soul at all in their analysis, in their study. Soul being non-physical, cannot be seen, cannot be verified in the laboratory. So it is beyond the scientific investigations. So this question is often asked, Uh, this question was asked to Lord Mahavira also, and he replied in a very affirmative manner, He said that yes, soul exists, and he justified. So what I am going to talk to you now is the answers given by Lord Mahavira uh, in response to this kind of question. So he said, look here, if you normally make statements like I have done, I am doing something, or I'll do it. Who makes this statement? The body or the soul? Well, how can the body make such a statement that I am doing work, or I have done something, or I'll do something in the future? The body cannot make such a statement, Who makes the statement? The soul. And therefore, if you make such a statement, indicates that soul exists, because the soul is making such statement. Then the very first question, in the very first place, who's doubting the existence of soul? Who says that, the soul does not exist? Or does the soul exist, The body doesn't say that. The doubt itself is raised by the soul. So, the fact that, you have a doubt, you are raising a doubt, means you have a soul. Your body does not doubt these things, Soul is directly known because of its attributes of memory. We all have memory. Where is the memory? Is the memory in the brain? Well, the scientists also have denied this, There are many people who doubt that the brain can have memory. Where is the memory? The memory is contained in the soul, So because we have a memory means we have soul. Because our body does not, or our brain does not store memories. Expressions like I am happy, I am sad, this normally we make such a statement every day and many times in a day, No, okay, I am okay, I am happy, no, I am not happy. Now, who makes such a statement, Who is happy, who is sad? And who says that I am happy and I am sad? It is the soul. The body doesn't say these things, So all these statements are made by the body, by the soul. Then soul is known by attributes like intelligence. We all act intelligently. Where is the intelligent? Is the intelligence in the body? Do you mean that the atoms and molecules of the body have intelligence? Well, answer is no. Scientists themselves have denied this, that atoms and molecules have no intelligence. So where from the intelligence is coming? It is because of the soul that we feel intelligent, we act intelligently and so on. And then awareness, we are aware of something, ourselves, certain environment, objects and so on. That also is because of the soul. These attributes cannot be of the material body. Remember, since the body is visible and physical, whereas these attributes, intelligence, awareness, are invisible and non-physical. So if the attributes are invisible and non-physical, there must be property of something which is invisible and non-physical, not visible and physical part. So they cannot be property of the body. No, they are the properties of the soul. There must be an authority owning the body and sense organs. There is a body existing here. Who is the owner of the body? This question is asked. It's something like this, that you live in a house and somebody asks you, who is the owner of the house? You will say, no, I am the owner of the house. It is my house. So, if there is a body, who owns the body? Who will say that it is my body? The soul. The soul will say, okay, this body is mine. Although in the strict sense, it is not soul's body, but this is how in practice we speak, that this is my body. So there is an authority of this body, and who is that authority? The soul. Sense organs and emotions have the relationship raw material and product. We all have sense organs and we all have emotions. What are emotions? Emotions are something different. They're different from the body. It is they are related to body in the sense that because we have sense organs, we also have emotions. The sense organs becomes means of having emotions. But the emotions are in the soul. The sense organs are only means. So the emotions are in the soul. Emotions are not in the body, not in the sense organs. The soul is required to produce emotions, through senses, of course. The senses they become means to have emotions. Many people believe that matter can produce a new article and therefore soul is product of matter. This is scientific materialistic thinking. Materialists think in this way. Look here, if you combine two things, you can produce a third one, and therefore if you combine the body matter, you produce the soul. So where is the necessity of assuming separate existence of soul? But this is a faulty way of thinking. This is not correct, because the first thing you see at the dead body, when the dead body also have all the things in place, they have all the organs in place, all the body components in place and so on, then why can't the dead body think? Why can't the dead body respond? Because the soul has left the body now. So the body by itself cannot have consciousness. This is a wrong way of thinking. And then we have said in the very beginning that the properties cannot change. The consciousness is the property of the soul, and the matter does not have the property of consciousness. And in no form of matter can have consciousness. Matter can undergo as many transformation as possible, and at whatever level it is possible, finer or gross level and so on. But it cannot give rise to consciousness because it is not the property of matter, whatever form it is, in whatever way it acts. So this consciousness is the property of the soul, and it is very faulty, incorrect way of thinking that the material form can produce consciousness. This is absolutely not acceptable to Jainism. Intelligence is, for example, is attribute of the soul, and it cannot emerge from matter. The body matter cannot give rise to intelligence. So what we have discussed today is what are the different kinds of substances, what are their properties, the universal properties and the particular properties. And then we also went through this important question of existence of soul, and I think you are convinced that the soul has a separate existence than the body. Soul is different from matter. But yes, soul and matter jointly exist in our life, there is a combination, and our body continues, life continues, so long as the soul continues. In fact, the soul is the main component of our life and not the body. Thank you.